Hello, everybody. My name is Aley, and my channel is Heart and Soul Connected. And I haven't done a video in a while where I just brought in some information. So I thought today that I would bring in the idea of how to navigate people who drain your energy and or are narcissistic, which is something that we've been dealing with as a collective for the past few years as well. And I just want to state that I am not a therapist, nor have I the credentialing to diagnose is the word I want, to diagnose any of these things. But there are feelings that you're going to have that will come up from the information, I think. You will recognize some folks who meet that criteria in your life, because we've all seen them, we've all lived with them. And, I hope to say that we probably all don't want to be one of them. But this is just something that I thought that I would share with you all. So, the feeling when you walk away from a conversation with somebody and you feel like your phone battery is gone completely dead, but the phone battery is your body or your mind at the time. You've gone from like fully charged to completely exhausted, maybe wanting even to take a nap, certainly wanting to get away from somebody who has hijacked the conversation. You feel unseen, you feel unheard. They might even make you feel like a little bit crazy, like you want to say, could you let me say something, right? Sound familiar? You try to brush it off and think, oh, they're just really talkative. In fact, they've even said they're just really talkative, or they're going through a lot right now and they just need somebody to listen. But there's a quiet, wiser part of you recognizing that something else is really off. That person is wanting to hijack your energy or wanting to control or manipulate what it is that they can do with you. So it's very important that you take this into account. And this is for entertainment purposes only. Thank you. I had a person in my life who could literally suck the air out of a room. I'd hang up the phone and I'd feel physically tired. My own good news was never shared because I didn't have a chance to say it. My own problems would feel small and trivial compared to the other. Or the other would say, you think you got it bad, what about? So you've got the whataboutism that comes back whenever it is that you're trying to insert something. Remembering that any kind of a interaction with another person is supposed to be a two-way, at least, conversation where you free up what it is that you would like to say in order for them to respond in kind. And that way you're sharing together. Just like the energy we say in a reading or in something that we do brings us to an understanding that energy is shared and it's equal and it should be treated as such. That way we are not manipulating others and they are not allowed to manipulate us. And I think it's really difficult if it's somebody that might be like an elder in our family or an older person or just somebody who is a chatty Cathy, which is really the old-fashioned doll where they kept pulling her neck and she'd have something to say. So some people call them energy vampires, while others may identify them as narcissists. The behaviors usually overlap, which creates a confusion as to whether or not they are or not. But it is depleting. It is, because you're trying to figure out how to manage the conversation or get away from the conversation. Sometimes you're pinned into a corner and you can't leave, even if it's not a physical corner. You are cornered and you are stuck in that energy. So the first thing is we may not recognize right away, but there is a subtle drain that starts to happen when you've got an energy vampire that's working to suck you dry. So it's a colloquial term for people who, whether they mean it or not, and some don't recognize it, they leave you feeling wiped out after you interact with them. They thrive on your kindness, your willingness to listen, and it comes at a huge cost to you because you're not able to have that exchange of energy. You are almost being bombarded by their energy. They seem to hijack every conversation, even if you start the conversation. There's a talent for making every single conversation about them and not even asking you about yourself. It's like playing a game of catch. They never throw the ball back. So you're pitch the ball out and they're holding on to it and they're going to keep it because that's their power. It could be you could be starting off telling them about a promotion, a fun date or anything, but within seconds, they have something to say that it shifts back to their thoughts about it. I'm going on a vacation and I'm going to go down to Mexico. Well, I went to Mexico 5 years ago and this happened and that happened and I didn't like it. And I would never go back there again. You know why? Because, and you're all excited about going somewhere and you're not even able to share your good news because they've already hijacked what it is that you have said. And, or I say the words, they poop on your parade. Maybe they didn't like it and they're going to make sure you know why. So there's that. Maybe they one up your story. Oh, you got a promotion? Well, that's cute. Let me tell you about the massive project I'm leading and how I may be the vice president of the company. Who knows when? I'm just doing so well and everybody admires me and thinks that I'm wonderful. Please, no. Or they'll brush past your news and launch into their latest crisis. There's that too. You walk away feeling less like a friend and more like an audience member to a one-person show. Your only role is to listen and applaud. Maybe that little golf clap, yay, yes, thank you. They tend to also be people that can play a perpetual victim, not realizing that they're keeping themselves in that role by constantly stirring that same energy around and around. It's like they live under a dark cloud. Or if you're a Charlie Brown fan, remember Pigpen, how the dirt followed him everywhere he went? Life is always happening to them. There's always a new drama, a new crisis, or someone who has wronged them. They are masters at painting themselves as helpless, which is like a magnet for empathetic people. And there are people that are empaths, and they are the drained ones first and foremost, usually. That usually happens. Your compassion quickly feels like an obligation. Oh, look who's here that I can throw all of my woes and sorrows onto and who will listen to what I have to say because they understand. And yes, there are times when a friend needs to listen. There are times when you want to share some things that may not be so exciting. But not every time. Not feeling like if you turn the corner and they're there, you almost want to peek around it first to make certain they aren't, because it's so debilitating to our energy level. You get up to trying to create a solution for these people, and by offering advice. And many times when you do, oh, no, tried that. Nope. Been there, done that. No. But woe is me. No one understands me. No one understands me. It's like they're being complaining about being stuck in the rain and you're handing them an umbrella and they're like, oh, no. You keep it. I'll get wet. I'll suffer for not having my own umbrella. And we can see some martyrish behavior in that regard. It's like they feel they're only worthy if they pass on some of the things that you've said. They're not actually looking for solutions, is the truth. They're looking for a steady supply of your attention and emotional energy. They want to engage you, and they just want someone to listen. And sometimes that's okay if you're willing to do it. But if it's every time, each time, then it becomes less and less okay and more draining for you. They really take responsibility, and they're experts at shifting blame. There's somebody that we all know that shifts blame, never takes anything, never admits to anything, never does anything. It's always the other fault of the other person. They were horrible people. They did this wrong, that they're low lifes or idiots or whatever it is. Because how could I be wrong? And we've seen it over and over and over again. And we've seen people bending to that will. I can't imagine how they can even walk out of the room after they're done being persecuted by this narcissist. They really take responsibility again, and they keep you hooked into their drama, trying to help someone who doesn't really want to be helped. There's nothing worse than that. If you want me to give you some advice, you don't have to take it, but let's not deflect it back every single time either. So yeah, your problems get minimized if you're feeling, not, and you're certainly going to be minimized because you're not listened to. And they don't really want you to say anything. They just want you to listen. That's all they want. Or they want you to provide them with a sympathetic ear. They're like an actor who demands to be the star of every single scene. And they rewrite the script to make your role very small. They might say something like, you think that's bad? You should hear what happened to me. You think that's bad? You think that's bad? Oh, it isn't as bad as what I've had to deal with, right? Once in a while, that's true. Again, we're not talking about once in a while. We're talking about all the time, every time. These people, this is their modus, and they don't even know it many times. Some know it really well. Some don't. Some are in that victim, and they want to stay in that role because they get the attention that they need. So it says here that they'll listen a little bit to what you have to say, but then they'll try to steer it back to them because they're the ones that are the most important. It's so invalidating. It leaves you not feeling just unheard, but unseen, and feeling guilty for even trying to take up space. Over time, you stop bringing your problems to them. You might even stop sharing good news because they don't care. They don't care. There's an envy or a jealousy as well. You start editing yourself and shrinking your life to make room for theirs. This is a red flag that the relationship is completely one-sided. If you're shrinking yourself and you're not sharing your good news with somebody who really genuinely cares about you, then why would you want to keep around them? It's very, very difficult. This makes it hard when it's a family member, of course. Makes it hard if it's a spouse, if it's a child of yours. And, it also makes it very, very difficult if at work, if you're dealing with somebody who, they did everything. It was their idea. They thought it up. I don't know what you're talking about. You never said anything about it. I'm the one who got it, not you. So when the draining becomes really, really dangerous and you're feeling really wiped out, the narcissist is particularly strong suspicion here that that's what you're dealing with. They are energy drainers, but not all energy drainers are narcissists. So you got to know that. Some people, they might be an energy drainer for a day, a week, a month, a year, because they're depressed or they're going through something. But narcissists never change. They're always the same. And they don't know they're narcissists. They just think they are the most important person in the room, always. There is a narcissistic personality disorder, and it's a mental health condition. Again, not a mental health counselor here. My daughter does work with narcissists in her therapy group, where she helps them to identify how to deal with people that they have to live with and deal with. But that's not me. So being needy is different than moving into manipulation, entitlement, and lack of empathy. And there are people who have a lack of empathy. Oh, so-and-so died. Oh, well, good riddance. That's great. Things like that. That just are crazy. They also have a grandiose sense of self-importance. They like to name things after themselves. Wonder who that could be. This is the defining trait of a narcissist. They have an inflated sense of their own importance. Only I can do the job. Only I know how to handle this certain thing. I have done the very best job doing such and such and such and such. There's never been anybody that can do it like I can. And I don't have to mention names for you to understand that that's what's being dealt with right now. They believe they are the sun and everyone else is just a planet that circles around them and should revolve around them at all times. They expect to be recognized as being the superior one. And if they have even if they have no accomplishments to back it up. Add something like a mental health situation, dementia, that kind of thing, and you've got a toxic cocktail of a person right there. It isn't just a confidence, it's a deep-seated belief they're special and can only be understood by high-status people. They exaggerate their achievements, they take credit for things they didn't do, and they act like they're the most important person in any room, anywhere, always. They live in a fantasy world built around their own success, power, and brilliance. They think, in other words, that their poo-poo doesn't smell, that they're just the most superior quality of person. Their ego is like a car with a leaky gas tank. It needs constant fuel to keep running, and that fuel is praise, admiration, and also narcissistic supply. If you're in a relationship with them, you're expected to be their personal 24/7 cheerleader. There are people that will sit around a huge table and say, tell me about how wonderful I am. Give me something today. And they're expected to give that something. Most normal people would move away from that kind of a situation. But we're living in unprecedented times. There are people that are not budging. They may not be happy, but they refuse to do anything about it. And that is due to fear. Pure and simple. There is a fear within them that makes them not speak the truth. But then again, that person will never hear it. So they have to really remove themselves from that area, which is something people are not willing to do, obviously. So the second that the admiration wavers, or if you dare to offer a tiny bit of criticism, they turn on you, always. You can't be more important than them. You can't show them up. You can't tell them what to do. You can't even tell them what you think about something because it doesn't align with them. And immediately you become an enemy. And enemies have to be treated with disrespect. And there's always a level of punishment that comes up behind it. They might become angry, impatient, or give you the silent treatment because they're not getting the special treatment they deserve. Your praise isn't about connection. It's a resource to use to prop up their own self-image, which is vital to them. They have to look as though they are the prize. And they like to get trophies and honors and things like that. This may be the most damaging, though, is the lack of empathy. The narcissist's inability to recognize or identify with the feelings and the needs of other people. And understanding that affordability is something that most people really do need to have. But there's no accounting for it. It's a hoax in some people's eyes. Trying to explain your feelings to a narcissist is like trying to describe the color red to somebody that's colorblind. They have nothing. They have no imagination. They have nothing. They don't know what to think. They might understand the words, but they can't perceive it or anything that you or anyone else is perceiving or experiencing. In other words, if it doesn't happen to me, then it doesn't happen. You're making this up. Don't give me that minutia. I'm not ready to listen to it. This is what allows them to be cruel. And cruelty is the point. They belittle you, they dismiss your feelings, and they exploit you with a hint of guilt or shame because your feelings simply don't register as being important. The only feelings that are important are that of the narcissist. This is what lets them treat people like objects or tools used for their own gain and then tossed aside whenever they are done. Behind the mask of supreme confidence is an ego that's as fragile as a house of cards. And there have been several series made called House of Cards that can show you exactly how this works. Narcissists are sensitive to any perceived criticism or slight. They don't take jokes very well. They don't want anyone making anything up. They can't laugh at themselves, and they can only laugh at others. When they feel attacked, they react with narcissistic rage. It can be terrifying, like a volcano erupting, maybe some ketchup flying. It could be a cold, punishing silence. They want to humiliate you to make themselves feel better. And they'll start smear campaigns against you or use passive aggression to punish you. This isn't a normal reaction. It is a disproportionate response designed to put you back in your place, which is below them. So recognizing the signs, and I think we've had very, very brutal signs that we can recognize, but it's important to take those and shift those into people that are in your own life and that live around you that might be doing this to you as well, or gaslighting you into believing something that simply isn't true. So what do? How do you protect yourself? You can't change these people. There is no change available for these people. But you can change how you react and access to give them your life. So this is why a lot of people turn away. This is where boundaries come in. This is where people say, I cannot even contact you anymore if it got to that point, or very minimal contact under a certain, and you know they're not going to like it, whatever it is you do, because they can't control you. Think of boundaries as a fence around your property. Decide who gets to come through and what they're allowed to do. For an energy drainer, it could be saying, I only have 15 minutes to talk before getting on the phone, or I'm not able to help you with that right now. And it's saying no, which is a sentence, without feeling guilty. I'm sorry, I don't have the opportunity to chat with you right now. If somebody constantly calls you up, you should probably be able to tell who that phone is. Don't answer the phone. The phone is for you, not for them to call you. You don't have to pick up the phone and answer the phone anytime, ever. If you don't want to, you're paying the bill unless somebody else is paying the bill for you. You're not obligated. With narcissists, boundaries are even more critical than those who are energy drainers, because you got both. You have to be firm, state calmly and clearly, I won't continue this conversation if you're yelling at me, or if you're angry, or if you belittle me. Expect them to test you, get angry, or make you feel guilty. The key is to enforce the consequence every single time. You can't be wishy-washy on this. Don't justify, argue, defend, or explain anything. Stand firm with your feet on the ground and make sure that they know these are the boundaries. This is where it ends. And know that you're just protecting your own self and your own energy by doing so. Of course, there are many things you can do. You can put walls up around you in your mind or mirrors back to them. But really, it's saying no. It's making sure that you understand that this is not good for your health either. And to live a joyous life without any kind of stress-related attacks that you shouldn't have. They should not be happening to you. Don't let them happen. Thank you so very much. Please let me know by writing on the show notes afterwards what you think. If you feel like you have one of these folks in your life or even an energy drainer. I do have a website at heartandsoulconnected.online, and I have classes that are coming up in June and July. And if subscribing is something you're interested in doing, I would love to have you as a subscriber and or a member, because I have memberships as well. Thank you very much. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you.